Let's get more on this now with Ulrich Brueckner. He's a professor of European Studies at Stanford University in Berlin. Welcome back to the programme, Professor. Now, the Eurozone is facing a sharp war-driven energy shock just as it was trying to stabilise the economy. How close is the bloc to a true energy-led stagflation crisis where growth completely stalls while inflation remains stubbornly high?
Well, what we see is a very difficult situation that can be described as stagflation, that on the one hand, we see very low growth rates, and we actually need stimulus to go back to a growth path. And at the same time, we face imported inflation pressures, not just from the Strait of Hormuz, but from the struggle to decouple from Russia as a long-term plan, and a major transformation because of the chosen goal to get a fossil-free economy and therefore getting rid of burning molecules as the main source for energy in the industry in Europe.
We're seeing consumers pull back heavily on discretionary spending because basic utilities and fuel are eating up incomes. If this continues through the summer months, can Europe's service sector keep the broader economy out of a recession?
Well, it is difficult to predict because we are in the midst of a perfect storm. There are a lot of bottlenecks internally, like labor market shortages and the red tape of the transformation that isn't as fast as it needs to be with all the reforms that are taken up. There's a general transformation, as I mentioned, in order to meet the climate change goals. And there are external pressures from not only the war in Iran, but the still ongoing war in Ukraine that carries a heavy burden on the economies with the broken supply chains and the dependencies that still need to be managed. So all these factors together make it extremely complicated to predict. And now what we just heard in the news, that the IPOs that are coming up from the United States cause a major shock for the stock market. This altogether needs to be managed and calibrated, and it's very impossible, basically, to predict what the long-term implications will be on the European economy.
And the bloc's major industrial engines, particularly German manufacturing, are seeing a heavy drop in orders amid soaring production and input costs. Is there a long-term danger that this persistent energy pressure could permanently dent Europe's global industrial competitiveness?
Well, energy prices is only one factor. There are a number of internal problems that, for example, the German Mittelstand, the small and medium-sized enterprises, struggle with the long-term plans that there is no successor in a family-owned business, and they don't know if the niche will stay the niche in which they are global champions. So all of these internal challenges are combined with a major transformation because of AI and the necessary investments. Plus, the domestic demand is a problem, and China's increasing pressure in markets that are crucial, especially for the German economy, pile up to a combination in which it's extremely difficult to predict where to invest and what will be a long-term plan, because there are so many factors that are changing quickly that it's hard to have the stable conditions that an investment requires.
Professor Ulrich Brueckner in Berlin, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.